satellite messengers and trackers, are they a thing of the past? Well, let's discuss how the iPhone and smartphones in general just might make them obsolete. Let's do it. Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in again. Neil here with BIKEPACKING.com. And before we do get into this video, I do want to take a quick moment to let you all know that this video is supported in part by Tailfin. Tailfin designs and engineers technical bikepacking equipment for almost any kind of adventure. Innovation and quality are at the heart of what makes them tick, and their constant strive to create better performing gear means that you can just focus on enjoying the ride. They offer a full range of options for hauling your gear, whether you're tackling a big race or just escaping for an overnighter. So for more on Tailfin, be sure to click this card in the top right corner, or also follow the link in the description below. All right, so we have all maybe seen or have used satellite messengers in the past. They're actually pretty useful little devices, especially for bike packing where, we tend to get off the grid and out of cell range, even in today's modern world where it seems like you can find cell service in the oddest spots. So all of last year, I had a subscription for the Motorola Defy, which was actually through the Bullet app. And so I planned on reviewing that device and the app and the whole subscription, but I kept running into issues with their app glitches that kind of made it frustratingly unreliable. So eventually I just stopped using it. So this year I dusted off the Garmin InReach Messenger and logged into the InReach site, and well, I realized that they had migrated everything over to Garmin's main page. Then I tried to sign up there and I found out that, well, all of the subscriptions are now managed through the Garmin Messenger app or the Garmin app. So lots of changes in only a year, but I guess that all makes sense. So I started reactivating my device on the app and I saw, well, a $15 monthly fee, $14.99. And I was like, all right, that's pricey, but I'll just be paying for a month and then deactivate it after my trip. But then I scrolled down and I saw a $40 activation fee, 40 USD on top of your $15 monthly charge. So I was kind of floored, but I needed a way to stay in touch with my family while I was gone. So I begrudgingly paid 55 USD for basically a 5-day trip because, well, I'm not going on another trip that month or this month. Now, I knew my iPhone had satellite capabilities, but hadn't really tested that out yet. So I decided this was a good opportunity to do that on this trip alongside using the InReach. So somewhat kind of comparing the two. So Apple's satellite messaging is actually fairly new. In fact, this was the first time I was actually prompted to connect to satellite since I've owned this particular phone. And speaking of, this feature is actually only available on iPhone 14 and newer. So I have a 15 Max Pro that I got late in 2023 and it works just fine. So the technology added to these phones let you communicate outside of cell or Wi-Fi coverage. So for emergency services, roadside assistance, if you have a car breakdown or something, location sharing, and messaging, which is the important one here. So Apple uses Globalstar's satellite network, which actually they helped kind of invest into in 2022 with this feature in mind. So in contrast, Garmin uses the Iridium satellite network, a network that generally has a reputation of being the best global satellite network in the world. But in my experience, they definitely both usually work as intended. But more on this soon. So I guess the biggest advantage of the satellite messaging on an iPhone is, well, many of you already own an iPhone. And, well, the functionality is pretty slick and seamless when it comes to using it. So let's get into that right now. All right, so on the second day of our trip, we got to camp and I had no cell service. And I did what I normally do. I use my InReach Messenger to send a message through the Garmin Messenger app. So I told my partner that I was at camp, a quick update about how my day went, and asked how she and the kids were doing. But the problem was I wasn't getting a response, and I wasn't actually sure if it was sending or not. So I reset the InReach, sent the messages again and again, And again, still nothing. So I normally get a response, so I suspected something was up with my InReach or just the communication between the device and the satellites. So I ended up just opening my Messenger app, and it prompted me to connect to a satellite. A screen popped up and basically guided me to point the phone in the right direction for the best signal. While it's a little clunky and definitely I'd say slower than, sending a traditional text message or even maybe using the InReach, it worked. I sent a message and within minutes I got a response. Turns out my partner had been worried since a couple hours had passed without a message from me. So my InReach had failed, but my iPhone got the job done. So it was at that moment I realized, I wasted some money. So of course, not everyone has an iPhone 14 or newer. And for those who need continuous tracking updates, say every 5, 10, 30, 60 minutes, well, a dedicated satellite device or messenger device is still the better option. Well, actually, it's the only option because you can't do that with your phone. But if you don't need tracking and just want to send a message every so often, the iPhone is a great option. So I'm really struggling to understand how Garmin gets away with these insane prices. Meanwhile, the iPhone satellite messaging is free $99 for 2 years after buying a new device. So in my case, I have at least till the end of 2025 for free messages, which I certainly intend to use. Now, I fully expect this to change. We don't know what Apple will charge after the 2-year free period, and if it starts from the time Apple implemented the feature late in 2024. But either way, whatever. For now, I'll be saving probably hundreds of dollars in the meantime, and that's really hard to ignore. So, are these satellite messaging devices obsolete? With iPhones and soon to be some Galaxy and Google phones offering satellite messaging, are really traditional satellite messengers on their way out? Spot, Garmin, and others. I guess it all comes down to cost and usage. Do you already own a phone? Do you pay for a monthly, yearly cellular plan? How often do you actually use satellite messaging? And do you need location tracking? So for me, someone who is consistently out of service, whether on a day ride or bike packing trip, I certainly would be using the messenger service on my iPhone, simply to get a message out telling my partner that I might be late or that I made camp for the night. And when I look at the subscription prices of other devices, I would say, it's getting really hard to justify paying for a service that's free on my phone. Now, of course, if Apple eventually charges a fee for usage or messages or requires you to toggle the service on or off with an activation fee, that would be a time where I would certainly consider an additional device. But being able to leave home with one less thing to bring and one less thing to charge, all while keeping money in my bank account, is a win. So what do you all think? Let's discuss in the comments below. As always, thank you all so much for watching. And if you like what you saw in this video and want to see more like it, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And if you want to help support this channel, everything we're doing at BIKEPACKING.com, the route sections, all of our reviews, all of our resources, you can do so by joining the Bikepacking Collective. The Collective offers a lot of awesome perks, including industry discounts, monthly giveaways, and the twice-yearly Bikepacking Journal. So to learn a little bit more about the Bikepacking Collective or to join, you can click on the card in the top right corner here, or also follow the link in the description below. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, pedal further.